Hi, happy Saturday. This video is going to be a little bit weird, you guys, because I am in the middle of doing outside yard work. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, right? Uh, and you can tell because I'm wearing my outdoor work hat with the sweat stain on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out and do something in the yard. I'm going to come in and shoot, more of this video. We have a bunch of things, but we're going to go, that was loud. We're going to go really fast this time because I was talking to a buddy at work. We were on the phone for like a half an hour. And Gene is the guy that sent me my wig, all right, when I was going through chemo. So anyway, he's in IT, so information technology. Just don't tell him, but I think he's just borderline genius. Okay, so anyway, we're talking about servers and databases, and some new work that we're gonna do. So anyway, he's like, and Gene, if you're watching, you're the one that brought it up. I don't think I brought it up, but Gene said, your videos, you're just losing me. You need to move a little faster. And he didn't say this, but I was thinking about it. Instead of me saying how long-winded I am, I'm just going to stop being long-winded. So I'm already starting to do that. All right. So thanks, Gene. So yeah, bunch of things. Let's go. All right, number one, new subscriber. I'm sorry, you guys, if you're sick of hearing about it, but I get excited about it, So, Allie, if you're watching, and this time I know who it is. I usually don't know, who subscribes, but Allie is a coworker. Allie, this is for you. Thanks for joining. That was really lame, but anyway, so and you guys, we lost a subscriber. So, it doesn't really bother me. So we're maintaining, all right? We're, welcome, Allie. Okay, I haven't gone outside yet, but I'm going to throw in another one while we're here. Who remembers what was in my dehydrator last time? Anyone? Bueller? Kale. So remember I said I'm going to dehydrate it and then put it in my NutriBullet and this is an entire bag of kale after it's dehydrated and ground up into powder. All right. So you guys, if you missed it, what I'm planning on doing is spinach is next. And then I decided beets. Beets are full of nutrition. So I'm going to slice them paper thin, put them on here, dehydrate them, grind them up, right? And then carrots and parsley would be easy. Parsley is full of nutrition. What else? Anyway, I've got a list of things that I'm going to do. So yeah, so when it comes out of the dehydrator, it's like, oh geez, now, so now I've got grass on my desk again. I brought my hedge trimmer in. But anyway, so I'm going to grind all that stuff up and I'm going to call it power powder. Remember we talked about AG1, this really expensive, it's the same thing, except it's, $89 or whatever. So I'm going to make my own AG1, right? So yeah, so that's a whole bag of kale. What could go wrong? Okay, so I was in the trailer a couple of weeks ago, just kind of poking around, looking at stuff because I like being in my trailer, right? Well, I better because I want to be full time in there, living in there. But anyway, so I opened a drawer there was little tiny doo-doos in there. So what does that mean? Yeah, mice, right? Or mouse or whatever, or a family. So last year I bought, the original wooden with the snap, Well, the poor little thing, it's like, oh, it just seems really cruel. I don't know, but I felt so bad about it. So I'm watching YouTube videos of full-time RVers, and they're like, "Well, we bought these." So this is a live trap. So the way it works is this comes out, and so you put peanut butter or whatever in here. And, of course, I'm going to put some power powder in there because we want healthy rodents, right? So, but anyway, so this little door closes and they get up on this little platform and the door shuts. And, so it's a lot more humane. So what I'll do is I'll take the little guy and we'll drive to Sedona or something. Let him loose like 10 miles away. But what I decided to do is, and this will be a future video, but I'm going to make him or her entertain us a little bit. So what I'm planning on doing is once he's in there, I'll set him loose on my shoulder and let him run around, or whatever, turn him loose on my hand and let him run up my arm, He's not going to bite me because he just wants to get down, so I'll feel bad if I drop him on the ground, he'd probably be fine. But so, and then, if I'm in the middle of the desert, which I'm planning on doing in the middle of Arizona or New Mexico or whatever, it's 110 outside, I'll have a bucket of water, that I normally put my feet in with Epsom salt because I'm old, right? But no, I'll put water in a bucket and, let him go swimming and I'll video it and, he'll have fun in there, right? That would feel good if it's 110 degrees out, right? Just to provide some, if he's in my trailer, he needs to give us some entertainment, right? So that's not mean, is it? I don't think it's mean. I think, well, he might think it's mean, but it's going to feel good. I'm just saying. Okay, I still haven't gone outside yet, but I'm just going to keep going with the video, all right? I hope that's okay. But I just thought of something. With letting a wild mouse run around on my shoulder, when I was a kid, you guys, I was just a weird little dude. I'm just saying. I don't know. I was just a little geek. I was experimenting with electronics and wires and speakers and all kinds of, but anyway, so I had gerbils as a kid. Who didn't have gerbils as a pet when you're a kid, right? Well, I mean, just being honest, an ADHD kid, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but if you have a child, and all three of my kids were diagnosed, ADHD, but these kids tend to be highly intelligent. Okay, I'm just saying. So our brains are like constantly going, right? You guys can tell, right? But I think there's a difference between that and adult ADD. I don't know. Anyway, I had gerbils, right? And I'm thinking about stuff. And I was into put a parachute on my G.I. Joe and throw him up and the parachute would open and he would come down, stuff like that, normal kid stuff. Normal kid stuff. Well, I had this bright idea. I took one of those big black garbage bags and I filled it halfway with air and I don't know how I did it, but I sealed the end of it So it was this garbage bag, half full of air. So I'm out in the backyard. It's grass. So I put a gerbil in the middle of this bag and I went poof, and the gerbil went up like 10 feet. And he came back down. He landed on the bag, so he was fine. He had a great time. And I told you guys before, I've gone skydiving before, right? I've jumped out of a plane 9 times. So I know what it feels like, right? It's like, wee. But so as a little weird geek dude, I did creative things with my gerbils. They were fine. There was no gerbils were injured. But we went to Itasca State Park up in northern Minnesota. And back in the day, this was 50 years ago. I was maybe 10. And they used to sell these, I don't know if you guys remember this. They used to sell these cedar chests with a little lid, with a little lock on it, and they remember what that smelled like, you guys? It's like, oh my gosh, fresh cedar. Do you guys remember those cedar chests? Well, so my parents bought me one. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I used to hunt for agates. So it was, well, in college, I found this thing and it was full of agates that I found. Anyway, so when I was a kid, I took this cedar chest. I'm just being honest. I was a weird little dude, you guys. I'm just saying, I still am. But so I put a bunch of Kleenex in there, just to keep the gerbil safe. I didn't want to hurt him. So I filled it full of Kleenex, put the gerbil in there, and closed the lid. And I saw a show about people getting in a barrel and going over Niagara Falls. Right? So I'm like, oh, I've got an idea. Stick a gerbil in my cedar chest thing. And I rolled him down the stairs, So I get down there, I open it up, and he's like, but he was fine. So, okay, come on, let's do the bag thing again. Poof. Okay. Okay, I got to go out and trim some weeds or something. Okay, so, excuse me. So I did go out and do some work. All right. So, do you guys like weed? Actually, funny story, whole different story. My kids pressured me into trying weed. So peer pressure. It did not go well. They had a blast, but whole different story. Anyway, so 3 weeks ago, I'm talking to my neighbor, and my fence is like 3 feet away from their driveway, and they've got a couple of cars in their driveway back and forth, right? And she's like, if you could, if you wouldn't mind trimming some of your weeds, because they're, it's kind of hard for us to get in and out of our cars and back our cars out. So, so I just, I went out there and, so I cut the weeds down. I'm not kidding. This thing was growing over, it was in my yard, growing over the fence. I had no idea because I never go on that side of the house. So it's like, yeah. You know what? The sawdust went in my cocktail. Yes, I'm having a cocktail. But this little thing, rechargeable little tiny little chainsaw, this thing does a fantastic job. This is coming with me in the trailer or in the back of the truck, you know, cutting firewood and stuff. You know, it's just like a regular big chainsaw. You have to adjust the tension and keep it lubricated and stuff. But, you know, so, but I'm not kidding you guys. I had to like, and this thing was, it had to be like 15 feet tall. This big tree that was growing over my fence into the neighbor's driveway. So I had to haul that thing out in the backyard, and I'll end up, you know, cutting it up and burning it in the fire pit. But it's like, geez, that's not a weed. That's like, I don't know what it is. It's not aspen. It's maple. It's probably maple. Maples grow like crazy around here. All right. Anyway, I'm getting long-winded. Okay. No, wait. I've got a better idea. No, what I'll do is I'll take this downstairs and I'll put it on my miter saw and I'll cut them really thin. And so if you guys need coasters, I'll be selling coasters for $39. I'm kidding. Okay, you know what? Gene said, you know, 15 minutes or, you know, something like that. That would be good. We're at 16 minutes, so I'm going to cut this off. Is that short enough for you, Gene? Don't want you falling asleep in the middle of my video. So even though I've got 5 other things, crazy things that have happened. So next video, you guys, I'll get this out there today probably. And then we'll pick it up again. Yeah, we'll pick it up again in a different day. All right. How about that? All right. Thanks, you guys. Hope you're having a good day. I am, because I haven't really been outside that much yet. All right. Talk to you later. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Science